podcast platform, Morning Woodward Show. Find us and leave a 5-star review. Let's get into it. Who is the X factor for the offense and for the defense? And KG, you can put a little beat on this.
I got you.
Let's keep it upbeat. Let's keep it upbeat here, okay?
go.
We'll start offensively, okay? And I might cheat a little bit here because I'm not going to go with one player. I'm going to go with the offensive line. And that's an obvious one, but for two reasons. One reason is because we talk about how often the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blitz. They blitz more than any other team in the NFL. And on top of that, what this offensive line should be able to do in the run game. That's everything. Protecting Jared Goff, and of course, you could run the football effectively, especially on first and second down. I think the offensive line, they're important every single week. It's an obvious one. But this week, I think it matters even more. Keeping Jared clean is everything. Allowing time for these routes to open up, these route concepts. So for me, offensively, I'm going to go offensive line, and that's everybody. It's an obvious one, but it's so true. Last time they played the Buccaneers, no Jonah Jackson. He's back. All starters are healthy, and I think that matters. I'm going with the offensive line.
Yes, that is a very good one. I am going to go with one Jahmyr Gibbs for a couple of different reasons. One, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last faced the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't even playing in the game. So it's somebody that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense and Todd Bowles and all of their players have obviously seen on film if they're doing their film study correctly, which I'm sure they are. But they never got that firsthand experience. And we all know the problems that Jahmyr Gibbs can give. And we all know that the Lions didn't have really any of their rushing attacks. So you're going to be getting a like lightning element from Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy who had 10, 20-yard runs, a guy who had over 945 yards and 10 touchdowns back in the game, can do so much. And one thing that I found interesting about Gibbs this season, and I think something you saw in the Rams game could be a carryover into the rest of the playoff games, including the next game against Tampa Bay. In the last 7 regular season games, Jahmyr Gibbs only gave you 57 receiving yards total. One of the things that Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't done as well as maybe we would have thought this year is be a pass catcher out of the backfield. Yeah. But what he's done to make up for it is be a much better running back, be a pure back who almost gave you 1,000 yards, gave you 10 touchdowns, gave you over 5 yards per carry. But against the Rams, he gave you 42 receiving yards, including that one swing pass in which he dropped one early on at Chicago in which he had a wide open lane into the end zone. But this one against the Rams, he caught one. He made a couple of big moves and got more yards than I think that play was designed for, given what he was looking at with the defense. So to me, it is Jahmyr Gibbs without a shadow of a doubt. He is going to give this Lions offense a little bit of something that the Buccaneers have not seen before, at least from the Lions.
And I'm not sure if he's number one, but he was up there in 20-plus yard gains in the NFL.
He was number 2.
Number 2 this year?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big Game Gibbs, as I call him. They didn't like that nickname, though.
Yeah.
It sounded kind of corny. But, hey, I like it, so I'm going to keep saying it. KG, offense, who's an X factor?
Hey, me and Sam is on the same wave with this. Mine was Jahmyr Gibbs as well, for all the reasons he said, but also the Buccaneers have not seen that kind of speed from this team yet. They saw a little bit of Monty, but he got hurt. But the element that they have not seen is Jahmyr Gibbs, so I look forward to him utilizing his speed, getting to the outside, and breaking off some big runs in this game.
Love it. JB, what about you?
Oh, man, everyone is in lockstep with Jahmyr Gibbs, so I guess I got to go a little bit different. Give me Jameson Williams.
Woo!
Okay.
Ric Flair.
The last time him and the Lions and the Bucs went up against each other, he had 2 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown, might I add. And I think Jameson Williams is going to be your X factor because he helps stretch the field. He helps Goff out a lot, and it's going to make this Bucs defense actually respect Goff in this passing game. Hey, if the first play out there, as KG said, we get the ball and Goff checks down and sees that, hey, they're blitzing, they're coming after me. You know what? Send J-Mo on the street. Boom. Down. It's all over.
I love it. Jameson, Jahmyr, 2 very important players, at least offensively. I'm going with the offensive line. Let's move to defense because there's a lot of different players you can go with, and I can't really argue with you. Me, I already teased it earlier, Aleem McNeil. I think he's everything. Now, Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, he's going to help, but I think who could be the biggest difference is Aleem McNeil. What he does, his presence against that run offense for the Buccaneers, they're already one of the worst in the NFL, but I think Aleem McNeil, one more week healthier, shaking some more rust off. We know what he is as a run defender, but boy, if he can create pressure from the middle, that is going. Guys, you know how quarterbacks operate. They all hate pressure coming from the interior. It stinks. You have to move out of the pocket. It allows guys like a James Houston and A. Hutchinson to clean up the play. That's why I'm going with Aleem McNeil. I think both in the run game and the pass game, Aleem McNeil could be the biggest X factor on this defense, and that's who I'm going with this game.
Jeff, I hate to be a copycat, but it's Aleem
I love
McNeil
it.
for a myriad of reasons. But I've got a few more which I think are interesting. The interior of the Tampa Bay offensive line is bad, and I'm just going off of PFF grades first. Aaron Stinney, 56.6. That's their left guard. Robert Ramsey or Hamsey, 52.8. PFF grade, and Cody Mock, Matt Broder's boy, his messiah, 44.7. A rookie Cody Mock. But
Mock.
Hey, he has talked about Cody Mock and hyped him up, but Cody Mock has had he's a rookie, whatever, but still, it's the interior of the Bucs offensive line is not very good. And you know how I know that too, besides just PFF, the Buccaneers have the worst rushing offense in the NFL. So I think Aleem McNeil will be a linchpin in stopping those inside runs. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Aleem McNeil made a huge play on Baker Mayfield. Like maybe just like engulfed his whole body and maybe body slammed him legally, of course, and maybe forcing a fumble. That wouldn't shock me at all. And of course, we all know when Aleem McNeil is giving pressure up the middle, that will take some attention away from Aiden Hutchinson, who is on a heater right now and has had a phenomenal season, and one James Houston, who is coming back. So yes, to me, it is Aleem McNeil. I think this matchup means a big day for him.
KG?
Detroit, we have a problem. And it's a good problem, too. James Houston is my X factor, man. Now, I'm not expecting him to go out here and have a 3-sack game. But it seems like the Lions maybe could have, had him in the last game, but they've been saving him. So I'm excited to see what he goes out there and does. I feel like 1 sack would be more than enough for him to contribute in this game. So let me see what James Houston got, man. We've been waiting all year. Let's see it.
That's a good one, too. James Houston, man, if he looks like James Houston of last year,
man,
Tampa Bay, they got a problem.
Yeah,
that's a problem. JB, what about you?
Man, I don't mean to copy you, KG, but
hey,
the boys are a lockstep.
Gotta do.
We have a problem. James Houston, give me him as an X factor on defense. I mean, the Bucs have not seen him. As you know, he went down week 2 or 3. And I just feel like he's going to come back and want to prove himself, not only for this team, but also to prove that, hey, I help contribute to a lot of these wins. I'm not expecting a 3-sack game from him or anything like that. But, hey, if you can get one, I'm all good with that.
People chiming in, giving their pick. Lunchbox Hooligan says Gibbs and Branch are the true big X factors. Art says defense is Houston. We either need him to get after Baker or take in an extra blocker so Hutchinson gets loose. Kiazi, X factors offense, Ben Johnson, defense, Aaron Glenn. They were as well in week 6. Don't sleep on the coordinators. Silence says gonna go Josh Reynolds. He's gonna ball out again. Mike Bell says Cam Sutton. And then Don Beats also says Cam Sutton. If he locks down Mike Evans, we win easily. Don Beats. Let me talk to you for a second. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Can Cam Sutton actually lock down Mike Evans? Just think about it for a second. Just think about it. Say it out loud and think about it.
Just think about last
Trust me,
week.
I love where you're going with it. But he ain't locking down Mike Evans.
Not at all.
He's not.
I wish.
And that's okay. Maybe a couple pass breakups. I'll take it. I'm just asking you, Down Beats. That's all.
Jeff, do you now see why the whole Cam Sutton thing was starting to get on my nerves? He was one of those people say that he's good because you think that he's good, and now you think that he can lock down Mike Evans. And for the record, he doesn't have to.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
But it's not happening.
Don Beats says that's a lot to ask. I know, laughing face. Yeah, and trust me, you're not wrong. If Cam Sutton has his best game of the year, it makes the Lions' chances significantly better.
I'll get on my knees and kiss his feet and apologize.
Hey,
I don't know if you would want that, but I would be willing to.
Hey, Sam, you do whatever you want to do.
I want to see Sam do that.
Well,
just hug him like you'd hug Bron,
Yeah, waist first, man.
Give him a waist hug.
Shout out Dime, man.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to say, because I just think Cam, man, he's not a CB1. He's not.
Yeah.
And he has to be for the Lions, man. Booner says, Mike Evans is the best single coverage wide receiver in the NFL. Fun fact. I mean, yeah, he's 6'5", 4 speed. He's a problem.
He's been one of the best in the game since the day he stepped on the field. He's done something that literally no other NFL receiver has done. 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start his career. I mean, that's I mean, that just shows how great he's been, how durable he's been. I mean, Randy Moss didn't even do that at this point. I mean, we might see people like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase do that, but even a guy like Justin Jefferson, he only got it because he's a cyborg who got it in 9 games, but he still missed a lot of time due to injury. So shout out to Mike Evans. I obviously hope that he doesn't play a great game against the Lions, but I think he probably will, but the Lions will probably still win.
The interesting part about that, and at least about, and I see some people talking about it as well, mentioning Sam Laporta on offense. And I want to mention this really quickly. I think another guy that could have and we'll see what percentage he is healthy. But the Bucs defense, they're not great against tight ends. And that's a fun fact. So we'll see with Sam Laporta. Maybe even a little bit of Brock Wright. Who knows? But I think Sam Laporta, depending on how healthy he is, he can have a big game this weekend. And
one thing I have to say, because this guy kind of gets on my nerves from time to time. His name is Brian Ruth. Not my favorite, but valuable member of the chat. Cam will be fine. He does great when we have a pass rush. And I will say to that, and I'm not even trying to be snarky, is the pass rush looked pretty damn good the last 3 games, and you gave up big games to CD, Justin Jefferson, and Puka Nacua back to back.
You're not wrong.
Cam Sutton, with all due respect, and he wasn't the only one. Kendall Vildor wasn't great either, but Cam Sutton these last 3 games might as well change his nickname to Toast Sutton, because that's what he was. That was a little disrespectful.
See, that's where me and you, like, I'll be like, yeah, Cam Sutton's not a number 1 corner. He's a number 2 corner playing a number 1 spot. And you're like, he stinks. And I'm like, well,
that was my bad. I couldn't help myself with the one-liner, but
that's your thing, Sam.
The point is, though, is that receivers have went off these last 3 games. And as we all know, Aiden Hutchinson has 7 sacks in the last 3 games, and just countless other times where he's been in the quarterback's face. And if you even want to, you're not even going to count the one against Justin Jefferson, but that big tackle for loss in the red zone when Justin Jefferson was going to throw the ball, that wasn't a sack, but that was just as good as a sack.
Booner says, have we addressed Flannel shaving his playoff beard in the middle of a playoff run? What happened?
It wasn't my playoff beard, though. That's the thing. Like, I had it beforehand. I mean, maybe
Booner's he's very superstitious. He believes everything needs to stay the same, which I kind of agree. Like, I'll be in the same spot as I was last week. Well, and I want to have blue hair, though. Sorry.
I'm superstitious, too, but at the same time, I also have my own systems of living. And the life system just said that today was the day to get a shave.
Let's see. Real Queen, a cream of wheat says Sutton's still better than Will Harris. I mean, by
a mile.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Answer 14, Sam wants to have meaningful relations with Hutch. I don't know if that's meaningful relations is like code word for like.
That's a pause.
He wants to like.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause that.
Funky says now all them big plays weren't on Cam. Not that he's been great. He does fine on mid-range and short routes, struggles on anything deep. And he is right about that. Cam, that's been his weakness. Like you watch, it's typically been, deep shots where it's like wide open, or Cam's a step behind. It probably goes back to speed. They just don't have speed at corner. They don't have guys that can go toe-to-toe. But regardless, that's something they're going to have to work on. Ice says, give Gilmore a shot. Vildor's all-or-nothing approach to coverage is not working, and he's getting toasted. Yeah, I mean, there's no...
He does give his life for the ball.
Yeah, that's...
Sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah, that's just how it's been. Brian Ruth, not happy with you, Sam. He says, Sam is hot garbage. Worst part of the show, worst sports takes.
Hey, Brian Ruth, you're more Baby Ruth than Babe Ruth. That's all I'll say.
Oh, my God.
Get him, Sam. Wow. Talk your shit, Sam.
That is okay. That was kind of good, though. I can't lie. Brian Ruth, I love his all caps takes. He does have some good takes. But you and Brian Ruth have beef.
No,
and that's okay.
I don't mind that necessarily. But when you do the all caps thing, Brian Ruth does it. Trisha Miller does it too. It seems like you're just yelling at me. Sam, you are hot garbage. It's like, bro. That's how I read it. And Trisha Miller does the same thing all the time.
Oh, I love it. The real K. Collins says clean shave is best for Sam. Danny G says Cam isn't meant for covering deep. Yeah.
Borderline pause. But,
I don't know. I was thinking about that.
Borderline.
It's borderline.
We'll allow it, though.
Yeah, you're on the spectrum. You're on the spectrum a little bit. Let's see. Drago says lack of height at corner also. Yep, that is a problem.
I see him coming.